it's just double vision constantly, and it's a little bit grey as well. So I've got like a grey eyesight from there onwards and double vision.
Tom Aspinall is not cleared to fight still. He is not cleared to train still, which is something, yes, that a commission can enforce. Comes with your privileged license.
The sudden and frankly shocking revelation of Tom Aspinall's injury update has completely blown the doors open, setting the stage for a wave of analysis and debate. While Tom himself has said he's feeling much better after that brutal eye poke, the lingering issue is a serious one. He's still dealing with a double vision problem. This isn't just a minor annoyance for a high-level fighter, it's a potential career ender. Tom went to see an optometrist who laid out the entire situation for him, explaining the grim context of his double vision. It turns out this is a common result after a severe eye poke because of the significant damage done to the delicate muscles that control the eye.
Eye movement tests have shown that there is a reduction in the ability for the muscles of your eyes to move up. So essentially your eyeball has muscles on the outside and it works like a pulley system. So when one muscle relaxes and one muscle pulls, your eyes move across to your left and then right. If there's damage to these eye muscles, even one small muscle, which are very small, then you can get one eye moving up and the other eye doesn't follow. And if they're not tracking absolutely perfectly, then you get one image coming from one eye and one image coming from a slightly different perspective. And that's what you're getting. You're getting one image here and one image here.
While making Tom fully aware of the serious reality of his condition, his eye specialist laid everything on the line for him. The doctor's advice was clear and firm. Tom has to wait, likely a bit longer than he wants, until this double vision completely resolves itself. There's just no way around it. You simply cannot step into a cage to fight at that level with such a critical sensory problem. The specialist really pushed Tom to prioritize his long-term health over any short-term desire to get back in there, but at the same time he tried to inject some positivity into the conversation, ensuring that Tom wouldn't get completely disheartened by this massive setback.
Train properly, spar.
It's a long road ahead, but the prognosis is guarded at the moment. I would recommend that you wouldn't fight until your double vision's resolved for two reasons. One, it could potentially make things worse and set you back even further, or that you're training because you're still having double vision looking into the periphery, you wouldn't be at your peak. So that's the main reason. I'm sorry that this has happened, and it's not nice. It's not nice to be in this position with lots of probably pressure coming from inside you, because I know you want to fight.
First and foremost, as soon as the update on Tom's injury went public, Chael Sonnen immediately jumped in to try and compensate for the incredibly harsh words he and Anthony Smith had dished out right after the incident. He was quick to backtrack, claiming that everything they had said was purely analytical and absolutely not personal. Sonnen even went a step further, saying that he genuinely admires both Tom and his father, whom he knows on a personal level. Now you have to contrast that with the reaction from Cyril Gain, who offered a much colder take, revealing that if Tom took his criticism personally, then maybe he could consider offering an apology. The difference in their responses is just night and day.
I like Tom. I like Tom a lot. I like Tom's father. This is on a human level. I don't know Cyril. He could be a perfectly nice guy. I know that Cyril as our champion, as a company, is a problem. And anything that could force us to see John Jones versus Cyril again is a really big problem. At any rate, to just speak about this event, I remember right when it was done. I remember telling you guys, I'm mad. I feel shorted as a fan. I know what I went through to be here.
Looking back at the actual sequence of events during the fight, specifically Tom's eye poke scene, Chael Sonnen addressed the issue once again, making a pretty bold claim: these kinds of eye pokes don't seem unintended to him. In his professional opinion, when you see a foul like that, the opponent is almost always doing it intentionally, not as some kind of impulsive accident in the heat of the moment. And when it comes to Tom Aspinall's specific case, Sonnen pointed out a really damning piece of evidence. Tom didn't just get hit with an eye poke once, It happened 3 separate times, a pattern that makes the opponent's actions look incredibly doubtful and suspicious.
It sounds like Tom was very legitimately hurt, without question. Some of you real tucker, you decide that even when legitimately hurt that you would have finished a fight. You go ahead, you do your thing. Do your thing. Sure you would. But if he was hurt, why wasn't it a disqualification? Why would we decide it's an accident? Why would we decide that it's unintentional? Why do we always decide it's an accident? Why do we always decide it's unintentional?
And it wasn't just that Tom was poked once. Leaping to Tom's defense and justifying his critical remarks towards Rogan, Michael Bisping chimed in, reminding everyone that Tom has been going through a severely tough and frustrating time. Bisping tried to justify Tom's harsh arguments by painting a picture of the situation. It was crystal clear just how hard Tom had been preparing for this massive matchup, only for it all to end because of an illegal eye poke. So from Bisping's perspective, lashing out with some trash talk about the opponent is completely normal, especially for a person who has just seen months and months of grueling preparation result in absolutely nothing.
Now, obviously, Tom's the one living through this. Tom's the one that's getting absolutely slaughtered online. And Tom's the one 6 weeks later still having to go to the doctor and still can't train and do any kind of combat. So he's the man that's living with this, okay? So you understand you kind of will get emotional. You will be... and you will think that Rogan was doing that on purpose. I still don't, okay? I don't think Rogan did that on purpose. What you want to do is crack someone in the face, and when the hands are out, when you go to grab, if someone comes in to take you down or whatever, sometimes that happens. That's why this whole rule of the fingers being up, not allowed there, but they're allowed.
He's not stupid for feeling that way. Looking at all the fan comments directed at Tom, with many people making fun of him online, Bisping said that people absolutely need to stop trolling him. He was adamant that these aren't real fans, they're just Tom's haters who are actively trying to make an already difficult situation even tougher for him. Bisping did his very best to issue a powerful shut-up call to those people, claiming that he himself had been through the exact same kind of ordeal, so he could deeply and personally understand Tom's situation. He was also trying to send some positive energy Tom's way, essentially telling him that he needs to ignore all of those hateful and ignorant comments.
It's said than done, and it's easy to get a thicker skin like I have over the years when you've been in the spotlight for 20 years. Tom's still relatively new to this, and 1 minute is the belle of the ball, the next minute everyone online is talking. Okay, and that's a hard thing to deal with. You got to remember, yeah, he's a big gigantic dude and he's the heavyweight champion of the world, but deep down inside he's still only a human being, and it seems that the entire fan base has turned their back on him and they're talking crap. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't feel good. Like, there's one right here. Tom is the most overrated fighter in UFC history. It's just absolutely laughable.
Giving some closing remarks on the whole discussion, Michael Bisping offered some veteran advice, saying that Tom should absolutely not rush to fight and make a comeback. Instead, at this incredibly sensitive stage of his recovery, the only people he should be listening to are his doctors. Bisping added that Tom needs to look forward to his career's peak, because he believes that soon enough Tom will be all right and back to his normal life. But, and this is the crucial part, to get there, he absolutely must be patient and persistent through this recovery process.
Granted, I don't think it's that serious, although the fact that 6 weeks later he's still not cleared for competition, that is alarming. First thing he's got to do is listen to the doctors. Do not rush anything. The man's still young, he's in his prime, he's not on borrowed time, he's still got years ahead of him. Listen to the doctors, come back, whoop some ass, take the gloves off, no more Mr. Nice Guy, tell everyone to go themselves, knock some people out, and this whole escapade will be behind him. Doing interviews and showing the receipts and showing the doctor's appointments and all the rest of it, I don't think that's the way forward. I really don't. But anyway.
After listening to Tom Aspinall's video explaining the situation post-eye poke, the well-known anatomy guru stated that since Tom has now claimed his eye poke was very real and severe, all the people who were making fun of him should step up and apologize to him. He went on to say that anyone who thinks Tom's medical reports are somehow fake probably just treats this incredibly dangerous sport in a far too casual manner. He drove the point home by saying this is the UFC heavyweight championship we're talking about, so everyone should really mind their words and show some respect when discussing the fighters and their health.
Clinical findings by eye doctors in hospitals. Everybody's still out there maybe saying, this is fake, this is such... We ain't accepting apologies, dude. You're on that side, you're on that side. You want to be one of them, you're on one of them. Okay? I still see people on Twitter saying, this is ChatGPT. This ain't ChatGPT, dude. What do you think this is? He's cooking up a fake little thing to type down, fake doctor's notes to put up on his Instagram. This is the heavyweight champ we're talking about here, dude. This is Tom Aspinall.
However, in a very strange turn, the guru then proceeded to break down Tom's confirmed clinical findings in a ridiculously sarcastic way. He said, dripping with sarcasm, that Tom has been diagnosed with a bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome, and then he suspiciously suggested that the trauma is somehow linked to cognitive diseases, even though Tom's primary concerns are clearly with his eye injury. He acted completely surprised and confused as to how an eye injury could possibly be linked to cognitive diseases, a move clearly designed to make the diagnosis sound doubtful and make it much harder for people to actually believe in Tom's clinical findings.
Tom Aspinall was poked and Cyril Gane put his fingers in Tom Aspinall's eyes and Tom Aspinall got Brown syndrome from it. I don't know if this is a symptom of Brown syndrome on Tom Aspinall. Maybe this is late stage and there's still a chance. But bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome. He's got Brown syndrome. It could have been a different one that sounds similar. Different type of syndrome. We dodged that one for now. He always looked a bit like Shane Gillis. Bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome, indicating disruption of the superior oblique tendon trochlear mechanism.
After it was mentioned that Tom's situation might require surgery, the guru immediately expressed his hope that it wouldn't come to that. He appealed that it shouldn't be a surgery, because if Tom really needs to go under the knife for this, then the chances of him ever coming back to the sport become incredibly slim. He also coined a term for the injury, calling it a Bispinger, a clear reference to Michael Bisping's own career-altering eye poke, cynically claiming that all these British fighters are just supposed to get an eye poke. So on one side, you have the guru seemingly worried about Tom's career, while on the other hand, he's actively making fun of the entire situation.
No surgery, please. That sounds dreadful. That sounds like a lot of time off. That sounds like permanently worrying about it moving forward. Maybe it could go wrong, the surgery, and if it goes wrong with the eyeball, it could really go wrong. Dude, is it the Bisping curse of UK UFC fighters? Arnold Allen's got to watch out. You know? Pimlet's fighting for a title against Gaethje. Pack your goggles. Okay? Big time. There might be a curse going round. I really do worry.
In a similar vein to the guru, another analyst, Wade Plemons, also broke down the medical findings, and his conclusion was just as grim. He claimed that if these findings are confirmed to be accurate, then Tom Aspinall's career is truly at the brink of a very dangerous stage. Plemons believes that Tom absolutely should not even think about continuing to fight for some time, because the reports indicate both of his eyes were hurt. For a fighter, having healthy vision is everything. It's absolutely necessary to watch and track every single one of your opponent's moves.
This is a big deal. Number one, if Tom can't move his eyes from left to right, up and down freely and see everything coming his way, he can't fight. Now, again, this is a bad thing if it's as bad as we're saying in the video here when it says traumatic Brown syndrome, indicating disruption of the superior oblique tendon trochlear mechanism. That's not the end of this. That's not the end of the road when it comes to how bad this could potentially be. But if you can't use your eyes without turning your head to see things, like if your eyes are stuck in a very limited space, think about like tendonitis of the eye muscle.
And while responding directly to all the people who were trolling Tom online and comparing his eye poke to Michael Bisping's, Plemons made it crystal clear to them that they are not the same situation. He explained that Bisping's eye poke as career-altering as it was not initially this serious, which is precisely why he was able to continue playing with his one injured eye for so long. But in Tom's case, both of his eyes are reportedly hurt, and he's dealing with a host of other serious eye concerns. So, the message from Plemons was simple: Tom should not be focusing on the public trolling. Instead, he needs to take a significant gap from combat sports altogether.
Able to move them, that's GG's on your career, because one thing you need, as much as you need anything else in MMA, to fight is your eyes. You can't see punches coming. You can't see where your opponent is. You can't see out of the peripheral vision of your eye for strikes coming behind other strikes. This is a problem. And for the people that are going to say, oh, well, Mike Bisping fought with one eye, Tom should be able to do the same. Well, okay, yeah. First off, Mike Bisping shouldn't have been fighting with one eye. But secondly, this is bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome. So it's not just the bad right eye that Tom Aspinall was talking about. Apparently, he's got it in both eyes. Both eyes having a hard time moving around.
His skull is at risk here. Breaking down Tom's video message, Wade said that it's frankly awful that Tom even has to be in a position where he's explaining and justifying his eye poke scenario to the fans and, more importantly, to Dana White. Wade believes some people, maybe even Dana, think Tom should just continue fighting with one eye, which is an insane proposition. He added that there's a very high chance the UFC could treat Tom harshly for this, especially since some of his partners have said some rude things about the UFC as well. All of this just makes the situation more complicated for Tom himself, because this kind of political fallout can absolutely lead his career towards a dead end.
The fact that Tom has to explain this to people that are either online or, in this case, Dana White, is insane. Dana White pulling the Tom's not tough enough card is ridiculous to me. Oh, well, he just didn't want to fight. No, it's not that he didn't want to fight. It's that if he chooses to fight without having any vision, he will not only surely lose, but also may impair his health even further. And like Dana said, who gives? They'll just move on, put the belt on Ciryl Gane, probably blackball Tom based on the stuff that Tom's dad said, based on the fact that Tom doesn't want to fight a certain heavyweight, and based on the relationship they have, and because the UFC runs the whole thing, they can kind of do.
While giving his own personal opinion on Tom's situation, commentator MMA Joey straight up mocked Tom's decision to post a video while wearing sunglasses, finding it somehow suspicious. After hearing about Tom's apparently harsh words for Dana White, Joey claimed that this whole episode could lead Tom's career towards a destructive and irreversible turn. He added that as a consequence for speaking out, Tom could very well be denied another chance to fight for the undisputed heavyweight title, effectively being frozen out of the championship picture.
With sunglasses on a cloudy day, saying he has no idea when he might fight again, and also trashing Dana White a little bit. And I do believe that all this is heading down one road, and that is the road of Tom Aspinall being stripped of the UFC undisputed heavyweight title. And I don't really see it going down any other way. I'm not going to guarantee it because we'll have to see how it goes, but I'm really starting to think that Tom Aspinall is going to end up stripped of the heavyweight title, and will probably end up with a Salsa Boy versus Ciryl Gane for the undisputed heavyweight title in 2026, which would be absolutely insane.
After hearing the narrative from Tom's doctors, Joey immediately showed his skepticism, saying that it sounds incredibly weird that Tom is supposedly left with only low vision. From his tone and his words, it seems like Joey flat out did not believe a single word of the diagnosis. He also took the opportunity to mock anyone who was actually trusting Tom at this point in time. He seems to think that the entire situation is not nearly as difficult or as serious as it's being made out to be, and that perhaps people are just wildly exaggerating the extent of the injury.
These eyes are damaged so badly that they are hurt 6 weeks later. Apparently he's legally blind now. That's the narrative they're going with. That is in the doctor's report, that he has like 8% and 21% vision, something along those lines, which is absolutely insane. These are the eyes. These are the damaged eyes. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I really can't believe there's people who actually believe this.
Finally, Joey really insulted Tom's entire team, claiming that his team partners are not doing a good job of managing this crisis for him. He argued that since this is the heavyweight championship level, his friends and training partners should be working to keep his morale high instead of allowing him to look miserable and defensive in front of the public. He also thinks that Tom himself needs to learn to be a bit more patient and play the game better if he actually wants to stay in the sport for the long haul.
And I'll say this right now, Tom Aspinall has the worst team he could ever imagine. They keep making him look worse over and over and over again, when he should have just shut up and said, look, I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to get my get back. I'm going to get my rematch. Instead, he's crying. Don's such a dirty cheater. Let me show you a compilation of him cheating over the course of 6 years. And crying about eye pokes when you quit in a heavyweight title fight while you're defending the heavyweight title that you never even earned. But these are his eyes within 12 hours of him being eye poked. And now we're 6 weeks later, and magically he has all these, but we'll get to that in a second.
In the end, the entire MMA world is left wondering the same thing. What's next for Tom Aspinall? Ever since his first video about the injury leaked, analysts have been relentlessly talking about his health concerns. Many of them seem to think that Tom is just pretending to be sick and is completely faking his eye poke injury. A lot of the time, the people saying that Tom is just exaggerating his injury concerns are revealed to be the haters of Tom, the ones who would much rather favor fighters like Cyril Gane or John Jones. But on the other side of the coin, there are some other analysts who truly understand his condition and can even justify his exhaustion and frustration. However, this case is not nearly as simple as people are considering it to be, because Tom is now found to have Brown syndrome, which is a genuinely serious concern for both his health and his fighting career. Now, the whole community is incredibly curious about the next steps for both Tom and the UFC, hanging on a single question: is Tom Aspinall's career going to end, or will he get another chance after he recovers?